the Converted Man here. Alright, so this is my video response to Sergey, I'm not even going to pronounce the last name here, Bazelyuk's video response to me that I did of his video. Oh, you know what I'm saying. Okay, so he has a lot of points and 2 hours worth of video. Unless I make a series of videos dealing with every single point, I don't know that I'm going to be able to cover every point, but I'm going to try. So you thanked me for doing a rational response, and then you proceed to complain about the people that are asking you to produce evidence of God. What they are doing is also rational, because whoever makes a claim has the burden to show that that claim is true. Whether it is providing empirical evidence of that thing, some sort of repeatable test that we could perform on that thing, or, at the very least, a logically coherent argument that would make us less skeptical of that thing. One of those things needs to be produced by you regarding any God concept. And for you to complain that these people are doing that, well, thanking me for being rational is, I guess, I don't know what to call that, other than cognitive dissonance, but I don't really want to say that that's what's happening here. But it doesn't make sense from my point of view. You need to recognize how logic functions. Well, you might ignore how logic functions, and given some of the things you've said in this video, I have a feeling you are ignoring how logic functions. You then go on to talk about the supernatural realm and how it works. How do you know any of this is true? You say later in this video that this is not something that is testable. You talk about my example of St. Elmo's fire. That we thought it was supernatural, now we know the natural explanation for it. And you say, well, but there could be a supernatural behind that. So that's called moving the goalpost, and it basically makes my point for me. If you're going to continue to say that it's supernatural, even once we have an explanation that's natural, then we're done here. There is no getting through to you. There is no way for you to get past a lot of these ideas that you have. There might be a supernatural realm. I don't know. I don't think so. And I don't believe so. And the reason is because we can't test it. As you yourself admit, we cannot verify that it's there. We cannot see that it's there via the methods of science. Therefore, we must be skeptical about it. Now, you, as a person who wants to continue to have faith in God, will have to keep some notion of the supernatural, I suppose, to make that possible. I can put aside my hesitation about your belief in God, because I'm fine with that, in a way. I don't care if you believe in God. That's fine to me. That doesn't hurt as much as the anti-science stuff does. And when you promote this anti-science stuff, it hurts society. The God stuff, yeah, it still does harm society, but less than the anti-science stuff does. Okay. You then, I believe, proceeded to talk about some analogy that I really can't wrap my head around. You have me walking through a desert, finding a computer, finding an instruction manual for the computer, and doing a whole lot of other things. Well, that's not what I would do at all. What I would actually do if I found a deserted building in the middle of the desert, first of all, I wouldn't even know that it was deserted, because I wouldn't walk into a building in the middle of a desert. I don't even know why I'm in the desert, but nonetheless, I wouldn't just go in, because I have no business in there. I don't know who owns it. It could be private property or government property. I simply don't know. If I'm curious about it, perhaps I'll get the GPS coordinates and I'll find out what I can find out on the internet about it. But if it was some big discovery, like nobody knew about this building before, then qualified people would go in there, explore it, and figure out what's going on. And yes, then if they found that computer and it was headline news, the people I would trust to examine the computer would be those qualified to do so, not myself. I don't know that much about computers, although I might know slightly more about computers than you do. Then as far as the book about it, they might read through it, but they're probably not going to just believe that that book is linked to that computer, and the safest way is to assume that it's not. By the methodical looking at every individual, both mechanical piece and software piece of the computer, they will learn far more than they would by looking at that book, one. Secondly, they can confirm whether the book is correct by doing it the other way around. We don't just assume that the book is true and go forward from there. We look at what the thing is, and then we can confirm if the book is true or not. In the case of what this analogy is supposed to be mirroring, where the Bible is the book that explains how reality works, if that's the way you want to look at it, then the book is completely wrong, which is what I'm trying to say regarding your way of looking at the Bible. You said, I can't, or I don't believe, I think you said you can't believe that things come about by chance. Well, that's personal incredulity. I have no idea how things, in terms of how the universe at least, came to be, but it was a lot of chance, and perhaps some other forces like gravity were involved that reduced the chance involved. But just to say, well, but I just can't believe that's true and credible, is personal incredulity. If that's what the data says, then that's what the facts are. If we don't know the data, then we don't know yet. And we really don't know that much regarding whether it's just all chaos or whether there is some sort of evolution in a cosmic sense, that because we have gravity, that is always going to make stars, and because we have stars, that's always going to make elements, and because we have elements, it's always going to make life. So without gravity, we wouldn't have any of that. Why do we have gravity? We don't know, we just do, and that kind of ends that questioning. But it doesn't end the science, because we're still going to try to figure out how this works, and maybe not why it works, but we're going to try to understand the system better. But to just say, but I just can't believe that it's by chance. Okay, don't believe anything at all. Don't believe that it's by chance. Simply be comfortable in not knowing how it all came to be. That's where I am. Now, if you want to say God did it all, fine. Say God did it all, but then say, and did it with these methods of science. These theories, these things that science is saying, that's how God did it. Because when we look at the universe, and we look at life, and we look at this or that, with this filter of science helping us to look at it, we are basically looking at that computer in your analogy. And what you're saying is, no. We have to ignore the facts that we find because we have to look at the manual. What? So the manual, when it's wrong, is right, even though it's wrong. That doesn't work. Okay? Then you go into a conspiracy theory. And this is the point where I lost you. That is to say, in the comments I said I got to about 15 minutes and I gave up on humanities. I'm like, I'm losing hope for humanity, one creationist at a time. I believe that was my exact words. And you're like, what, you're not going to listen to my whole entire 2 hours? You're not going to do what you said you're going to do? Come on. Here's the thing, Sergey. If you want to create conspiracy theories, then we truly are done. Nothing I say is going to matter to you. You didn't go look at the science. You said, oh, well, they want money, and that's why they're doing it. So 99% of the world's scientists are lying to everybody in the world and themselves in order to somehow get money by lying about biological evolution and the age of the Earth and the age of the universe. And why are they doing this? Who is giving them this money? Don't know the answer to that, because conspiracy theories are nonsense. And I have very low respect for you. Before, I was willing to give you a chance. Now, I'm not as much willing to give you a chance, because you might as well say, I want to remain in the Dark Ages. I gave you that option in the last video to just say, I don't care, deconverted man, doesn't matter to me. And that's what you're basically saying to me by making this conspiracy theory of, well, the scientists just want to get money. Really? How much money do scientists get paid there, Sergey? Do you have like a list of all the scientists in the world and how much money they're getting? How does this work? And what's so ironic, then you start talking about creationists. The first name you mention is the guy that's in jail. Come on, man. You want me to listen to these nimrods who do get a lot of money? No, why should I listen to them? They don't have real science. That's exactly the point I'm trying to make to you. But what makes it worse is you're not even willing to look at the real science because you have this conspiracy theory. So, Sergey, I like to be honest, and my duty is to the truth. If you take what I am saying seriously, you will go and learn the science. Not look at these creationists, not read more of their books, but go read actual real science and see the evidence for yourself. Go learn it. Go learn about it. Go understand it. And then come back. If you do not, or you will not, I am done with you, and I don't want to watch the rest of your 2-hour video. And nobody else will either. We're not going to continue to communicate with you if you just stick your head in the sand and don't want to pay attention to reality. Set the God concept aside. I said that in my last video. I'll say it again. You want to believe in God? Fine, believe in God. But don't believe in this nonsensical God that basically is giving us evidence that's wrong according to its own book that it gave us. I'm assuming you want to take the Bible literally, so I guess that means you think that Adam lived 200 plus years. Well, Sergey, you don't know the history of the Bible like I do. In fact, you say you don't know the Bible as well as some atheists do, which brings up a lot of questions too. Did you know that the ages of all the different people in the account of Genesis are not correct? If you go to the original language, which I wonder if you know what that is, if you go to the original language and you find out what their system of counting was, you'll find out that they did not use base 10, which is what we use in our modern day and age. They use a different system to count. So when we translated their ages, for whatever reason they wanted a very perfect translation, so they just copied it literally rather than translating the numbers into what they would be. So Adam would not be 200 whatever, he'd be like 35, maybe 40, maybe 55 when he died. Something around the age that would actually make sense, physically speaking. So your literal interpretation of the Bible ignores the history of the Bible, ignores the culture of the Bible, the people that wrote the Bible, ignores their culture, and ignores the facts of your own religion. That's why I told you it was a false doctrine. Your only response is a conspiracy theory regarding scientists. Sergey, unless and until you go learn, you set that crap aside. Seriously. Go learn science. Come back after you've done that. and we'll talk then. If not, we are done. That's all I have to say. Take care.